Member for Port Moody-Burquitlam, proceed, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to move the motion, be it resolved that this House unanimously supports interest-free student loans in British Columbia. We all know that getting a degree at a university is a very important part of gaining the skills we need for today's jobs. I grew up in a household myself that placed a very high value on post-secondary education. Not because my parents had a post-secondary degree, but because they didn't. In fact, my mom was born in former Yugoslavia, and she grew up on a farm, and she didn't have the chance to have a higher education, and she reminded me every day how important that was. And I'm sure a lot of mothers across Canada did the same. In fact, that's maybe the reason why in Canada we have the second highest ranking in the world of students that have completed post-secondary education. In many countries around the world, university tuition rates are very low, or in some cases they're even free. But in Canada, tuition is expensive, and that means student debt is high. And nearly 50% of all students graduate university with student debt, and more than 60% of those have student debt of more than $20,000. When you consider that it can take over a decade to pay back debt of this amount, that can mean thousands of dollars in extra payments for interest. It's those students with the fewest financial resources that have to borrow the most to go to university. These students, the ones with the highest debt and the least means to pay, don't need things to be even harder by needing also to pay back interest on the student loans that they've taken out. And that is why our government has eliminated interest on student loans in British Columbia. As MLAs, we've all heard from students. We know that how hard students work to get a degree and how hard it is to repay the student loans. Not having to pay back student loan interest has made a huge difference for a lot of students in British Columbia. We've heard a lot of stories. I wanted to quote from a recent graduate, Leah May, who wrote the following. I'm 31 and the first one in my family to attend post-secondary school and graduate with a child and youth care degree, specializing in Aboriginal studies, co-occurring disorders, and child protection. After school, I participated in a global affairs internship in Uganda for 6 months, and I was not able to start paying student loans back right away. I worked hard to put myself through school while having to work part-time to keep the bills paid and make my dreams happen. And I'm truly grateful to have the opportunity to be able to pay back my $50,000 student loan without interest. Thank you for making this possible. And there are countless testimonials like this. I wanted to read one other, which is from Sarah Rudishauser, who wrote the following. As a hard-working single parent, living in one of the most expensive cities in the world, paying such high interest rates on my student loans was a real burden. Last year, I paid almost $1,000 in interest. This money could have been spent on rent, food, or activities for my children. Now that this interest has been removed, I can breathe a sigh of relief and not only know that I am much closer to paying off my student loans, but also worry less about living paycheck to paycheck and can begin to finally save money. For this, I am grateful. Thank you for thinking of all the hardworking BC students that continually strive to improve their quality of life, as well as others around them. Education has dramatically improved my and my family's life, and I thank you. These are just two examples of students that have benefited from interest-free student loans. And there are many, many more, and many, many more to come. Our economy, our society is better with each student that graduates with a degree or diploma, and I'm proud to be part of a government that recognizes this and has taken away the interest on BC student loans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.